Hello, welcome to Practitioner's Corner. I'm Darrell Mahon from Outcome Matters, and today we have a real treat in store. We have Mike from New Zealand who's going to speak to us a little bit about feedback in informed treatment, or FIT as we know it to be. Hello, Mike. Hey,
Hey, Daryl.
hey. Thanks for taking part in the interview. Really appreciate it. I
Yep.
know we've a bit of a time difference, so it's early over there, it's late over here. So thanks very much. Maybe you can tell our speakers a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background and qualifications, maybe, and the work that you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Um, I've been a counsellor or social worker for the last 25 years.
No,
Um, I left home in 86, 87, and joined the New Zealand Navy. Spent a few years there, and then I ended up going home. And then my dad, my mother sent me to the southern area of our country of New Zealand, where I was born down in Gore, because where I live at the moment, I live in the probably centre east coast of New Zealand,
okay.
in Gisborne. And then I went from a lot of little other jobs after leaving the Navy to youth work, youth counselling, alcohol and addictions, youth program facilitation. From there, I ended up doing a few counselling certificates and into diplomas of alcohol and drug. Then from there, I ended up moving my way back towards the centre of the South Island to Christchurch, and where I was running youth career pathway programs. So it was quite vital to have the social service qualification, as well as just working in communities.
Yes.
As one of my backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So to come really clear in Gisborne, I've been in Gisborne for about 15 years.
Okay.
And I've lived overseas, lived in London for a little stint, just towards the end of 1999, and came home in 2003, and then lived in Gisborne and ended up following a pathway of going into the youth justice or youth programs, teaching a bit of our Māori weaponry in martial arts.
Right. Okay. A lot of diversity there. Brilliant. Cool.
Yeah.
What your present role now? What does that entail? What
Okay, my current role at the moment, I'm the team leader manager for mental health and addictions. So last time I seen you in Chicago, I just told you about our team leader passing away.
Yeah.
They opened the position up internally. I applied for it. There were 3 of us, and then I was successful to get that position from Chicago.
Oh, brilliant. Congratulations.
Yeah. So a bit of a big step in. Now I'm looking at 3 months in, and just under 3 months, and it's pretty nerve-wracking, but I have FIT behind me, my outcomes behind me, as well as my own quality. Yeah. And I've just done my postgrad in supervision, professional supervision, and now I'm just doing finishing my master's in Indigenous Studies.
Brilliant. So you have a lot behind you, both in terms of qualification skill. Maybe we can get in and talk a little bit about FIT now. I suppose that's the whole idea behind our conversation today. Is trying to expose our listeners over in Northern a little bit more to FIT. Can you tell me a little bit about how you first came across FIT?
Yep. Well, 2.5 years ago, just under 3 years ago, we were a pilot program under the Ministry of Health. And part of that was to integrate with our communities in the East Coast region. And part of that whole framework, or that system of Mama and Pepe service that we roll here throughout Ministry of Health, part of it was, FIT was part of it for us to learn how to receive feedback, but also give feedback to each other as therapists or clinicians.
Okay.
At the time, they were amalgamating both the culture and FIT together to get a design that we would all understand from an Indigenous point. And then we went from there to running regular group sessions with our clients or our whānau or our mama to, and then we'd ask them to do what we call the ORS or the SRS. And from there we were able to monitor our progress and how we could become a better system of care service for our clients as a group and as individuals.
Okay, cool. You mentioned there talking about fit in the context of Indigenous people specifically. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how it has, what that entails and what the impact has been, maybe?
Yeah, sure. So it's not a normal thing for our culture to be able to take feedback. We're terrible.
Okay.
We're terrible. And it's great to be able to learn it and then be able to teach others externally about it while we want their feedback, why it's important. And as far as Indigenous is concerned, we embrace it, but when it came from another lens outside our culture, that's where the dynamics got a bit more difficult and got a bit more, a bit weirder feeling for us to. So in our culture, it was no problem if you didn't do something with a high integrity. It was easy for someone to say to each other, but with fit, they're looking at us like, "Oh, you shouldn't tell us that. You should be more PC. You should be more." You should be more careful of your words. These are those let's step outside words sort of thing. So Fit's really given us a real strong ability to help us really become more, I suppose, coherent, more stronger in talking to each other as therapists, helping each other out, but also telling us if we need that help, we can find it in Fit or in the practice of Fit.
Okay, cool. In regards, have you seen any impact or benefit with your client work specifically on client outcomes since using it?
Well, yes, I have. It's a great settler for arguments or debates, and I say that quite humorously because in old times you'd be relying on things like he's my elder, she's my elder, I can't tell her what I feel, I need to be respectful and shush.
Okay.
Says now, Fit says the floor is open,
Well,
but make sure there's a respect before you speak.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, so that it sounds like it's really changed the culture there and how people feel about actually giving that feedback.
It's still new days,
Okay.
but at least now people can expect, oh, that's that Fit thing, eh, Mike? And then I'm like, yeah, for sure. And then all the time it's like, wow, we're looking at about 2 years into running or Fit, and some people are only just getting it. We have about 30 staff that are trialing it at the moment, and out of the 30, 3 love it, and the other 27 think it's a waste of time. And so there's a mix of me and my team. We've got to try and encourage those other ones that to make Fit become regular, make it become normal, especially with our culture. So there was a time where it was really hard to really implement because competing with culture, competing with each other's personal dynamics, it was a hard battle. It was hard yards.
Okay.
You know, you wish you could just go on a rugby field and call it quits there. But in the realm of Fit and culture, oh my goodness, crazy.
Yes, it is quite a complex dynamic, it sounds, particularly within your setting, Mike, and all the stuff that's going on there. I guess I wonder, you talked about people, a small amount of people liking it and a lot of other people maybe a little bit unsure or how it's going. Have those people received training? I know you trained as a trainer, but the other guys who are in your service, have they received training in Fit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they all have. They've all received the same training I received beforehand, but now they know, or they try to call me the guru or the expert, and I keep saying no. Fit is ongoing training and it's ongoing understanding between each other as therapists, but also between us and our clients And it's weird because a lot of our colleagues and communities, they love it until the light is shone on them.
And I think I carried out a bit of research recently. I put a paper together and I'm hoping to bring it forward maybe and publish it. And I surveyed anonymously a bunch of health and social care practitioners. And although not explicitly said within the data when I was analysing it does reflect a little bit of what you were saying there. From what I inferred from it is that people can be a little bit anxious that it is shown up, maybe some of their practices, and we all get a little anxious and worried about. I know I've questioned myself, am I good enough, or am I helping this client on this particular day? So we all do have anxieties as practitioners, but I guess FIT can illuminate that and shine a spotlight on it. Is there any advice or maybe feedback you can offer viewers of I suppose to maybe relay some of the fears that they have about using FIT?
Yeah, a lot of things that have come up is some of our therapists and clinicians have spoken how it's time consuming, and that was one of our initial rants, I suppose would be the way to describe it, because now it's not so much a rant, it's more of, it's like sometimes some of us therapists amongst our teams, we try and challenge each other how many hours we can get out to the community in a day or in a couple of sessions per day. And it's really exciting when some of our clinicians come back and they say, oh, our clients, they love it. It just gives them a feeling they can say they've been heard or they're not being heard. So it's opened another clearer voice for our clients, for our families we work with.
Okay, brilliant. Would there be any particular benefits you have noticed that we haven't spoke about of using FIT?
Oh, one of the noticeable things we have is when we have team building trainings, we catered around those things that we hear based on FIT, based on some of the scales that are coming across on the data and the graphs. We're able to implement things such as visiting some of our clinician notes. So a lot of the time when they do a session rating scale, then they might, instead of put a big field note in, they'll put in C notes just to depict how that session went and why it did drop 10 or 12 levels down below and then it came back up. So every time there was a change, they learned how to put more notes in on the field notes on the system, or they learned how to put just connecting notes to go to their field notes in the file. It's made a lot of really good tidier practices with their notes and their client files. But FIT, it just gives them that ability to be that little therapeutic voice in the behind the scenes with them, and it allows us as management now to really just see where our clinicians are at, whether they need to lift their game, lift the game in the service, or they're doing really well. We can actually put KPIs and the like. They're not actually KPIs, but more of incentives to see where they're going with their work. So if it needs more work in training or development, we can see how that's going with the ORS. And then we can even conduct another ORS or SRS system with a lot of our clients that we think that they're ready to be exit. So that's another thing that we can gauge on some real clear, definite lines of exiting and discharging.
Okay.
Of clients, but yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like it's almost streamlined your service in and I'm just conscious that we're probably using some concepts and words that our listeners are probably not overly familiar with when we're talking about the SRS. We're talking about the session rating scale, and yes, the ORS is the outcome rating scale. Yep. And I guess what we're talking about there as well is about how we can use them to help practitioners develop their practices. And of course that links into the whole concept of deliberate practice, which is a real emerging concept within the wider psychology and psychotherapy field really starting to gather momentum at the moment, and the whole idea of really getting a gauge or a measure of how good you are or what type of outcomes you have and where areas that you need to work on. And fit is a way of doing that by giving you the data, so your ability to build therapeutic lines and some of the outcomes that your clients are having. So you found that to be something helpful for you guys over there, Mike?
Yes, yeah. Because we've got clinicians that have been in the game for 20, 30 years in the game, and they really didn't see they needed to really develop a bit more.
Okay, so
and now Fit's providing them that little, wow, I didn't know this, I didn't see it like this, and it's really given us an ability to really hone the skills of our clinicians and our therapists, and really detail areas that they may need. But overall, it's even strengthened teams to know how they can work together. Because our situation, we work in pairs. Usually it's a female and a male going out to our communities. We have 4 in our team, so it's 8 clinicians. And 4 of those clinicians are, they're based on artistry, whether it's art, carving, weaponry, working with weaving. So they're like forms of engagement.
Yes,
and
okay.
So we're able to monitor those, how they're going for our clinicians in the workspace.
So just to stop you there and clarify, Mike, are you saying that you use fit within all these different therapeutic activities you carry out that may not be traditional talk therapy? Yeah, okay, brilliant. That's great. I guess it really kind of shows how versatile fit is.
Yeah.
We call it, it's a pan-theoretical approach you can use with really anywhere, or with any clients, or with any therapeutic approach where you're trying to engage somebody and have some beneficial outcomes. So it's a way of tracking and improving and measuring that. It's really interesting to hear how you guys are using it over there, particularly within how you're speaking about it, within how it actually improves communication at the team level. A lot of the talk would just be really around kind of using them with clients, but to see how you guys use it, it sounds like it's really starting to get embedded into the culture over there, be it slowly. I guess one of the things we both probably took from the trainings was how long it can take to embed evidence-based approaches into programs. Brilliant. Is there anything else that you'd wish to have asked, or that you'd like to maybe speak about, that or you think our listeners will find interesting before we finish up?
I think the other one I want to highlight is a lot of those tools we've done in the implementation in the trainers program. They really worked for us here in New Zealand. Like putting down with scenarios, some of the training games that Scott and Suzanne had put on the floor with us. I've adapted those into our teams as well, and it's really, it's allowed a lot of our clinicians that we work with here room to grow, a series of personal challenges for them to develop and grow into finding they got other ways of working with our clientele, our whānau, and it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome when you can see the benefits of fit. It took a while because in the beginning they looked at it as just another Americanized system, but when I spoke to them that this is helping us be Indigenous as well, they sort of now they see where it fits.
Okay.
The glove fits on their hand, and they're really working it.
Brilliant. It's good to hear. It's good to get your insights, Mike. I really appreciate that. I do. I think our listeners will get a lot from that. So it's really good to see it within that context and working with Indigenous people. We'd have similar working organisations over here that would be outside the traditional culture. So we'd have people who really don't be interested in that. So thank you very much. And thank you very much for taking part in our interview as well. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this. Thank you.
Awesome, Daryl.
Thank you.